Greetings, YouTube. So, another racist department manager has been fired for being a racist. See, a black man was at a pool, the apartment pool, and we had the police called on him. Why? Because he had socks on. Yes, he had socks on and his feet were in the water. Even though there were white people there with shirts on were in the water. So there were people in the water that were not in the water with pure bathing attire. But the black guy, the only two black people at the black adults there, being the man in question and his girlfriend, says not proper attire at a pool. Now, I've heard of people being in trouble for not wearing enough at a pool because there were nudity laws. But I don't think I've ever heard of a case of someone having the police call on them because they had too many pieces of clothing on. Now, the apartment complex did fire the manager immediately upon hearing about this, which is awesome. But it doesn't change the fact that another white racist called the police on a black person, putting that person's life at risk. Because we know in America, black people will be killed by the police for no reason at all. They will be executed if they're unarmed, if they do nothing. They will be killed. So when white people are calling the police on black people, as far as I'm concerned, this is attempted homicide. They are attempting to kill that black person for having the temerity of being black in public. There was a case recently where a kid had the police call on him. Why? Because he was delivering newspapers. Because it was his job. But some white busybody felt the need to call the cops because there's a black kid walking from house to house to house. Funnily enough, that's what you do when you deliver papers. I wonder if she calls the cops when a black post person does the same thing. Does a mail carrier get the cops called on them because they're moving from house to house to house? Probably thinks they're stealing the mail. These racists are astounding. And they are incredibly bold at the moment. Why? Because our president and the entire political party that backs him up is endorsing these bold forms of overt racism. If you're a white person calling the cops and your life is not in danger and your property is not in danger, you're doing it to a black person, I'm going to assume you're a racist. They don't look like they belong here. Seems to be a prevailing aspect of this. There was a guy who was in his car waiting to go to a yoga class, had the cops called on him because he's sitting in his car waiting to go to a yoga class. Black in public. As far as these racists are concerned, that's reason enough to call the cops. Just being black in public. This is bullshit. And I am really tired of these racists. Not nearly as tired, of course, as all people of color. But this really pasty-faced white boy is sick of these people. And I'm tired of the excuses that are being made for them by a whole lot of other pasty-faced white people. If you're backing up these racists, I'm going to assume that you've declared yourself to be one as well. If you're not calling them out for the bullshit that they're committing, that the danger they're putting black people in, then you're part of the problem. And we need to keep blasting these stories again and again. There isn't more racism in America at the moment. It's just the first time it's being truly reported.